you remember their character traits, how they persevered, how they were faithful, how they did not always choose violence. And you don't check to see if those people that have the influence, the power, the money, you don't check to see if they have those values. Because when they get to those positions, they're going to drive you into the ground. Compassion and good arguments, those two things, we are losing them seriously. If you don't honor them, those values will decrease. Okay, hello everybody. Good morning, afternoon, evening, midnight, night, wherever you're watching from. Welcome back. It's been a while since I recorded an actual video due to varying reasons from my editor, kind of, rebelling and also school. But we're here because I just wanted to talk about something very quickly. But of course, I hope you're doing well, because that's important, especially now. Anyways, I have this little paper here. I hope it's not distracting you, because I wrote down some points that I don't want to forget. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I wanted to start today with a story, because I think that stories are important, right? So I was on Instagram just like an hour or two ago before I started to do this video, and I saw that one person that I followed who is like an influencer. I'm not sure if, like, okay, I guess that's what they call it. When you have a lot of followers, you kind of become an influencer, like automatically. But anyways, this person had not been posting for a while, and so the person now decided to post, like, I guess a kind of reply to the various responses to their absence. And when I was reading it, I just felt so sad that some people decided to see their absence as a non-commitment to their social media. I remember I was in church the other day, and then I think someone was like, our generation, we sometimes are entitled, and I was just like, okay, but this person like did not announce that their job is like, social media content creation. And even if they did, like, if someone goes absent, like if someone just decides to go off and they just decided to not post for a while, and they were consistent posters, and they had this upbeat happy life, like, I thought the first thing that people would do would be to be like, oh my gosh, are you all right? Are you okay? Like, do we need to come and look at you in your house or something? And even if you don't know where they live, like, you would ask them in their DM, we've not seen posts from you. Are you okay? Like, hello? But then, even though some people did that, some people just responded in, oh, like, your priorities have changed. Oh, you've left us alone. And I have some words that, my coaching mentor would say, emotionally unhealthy people. I'm not throwing shade, but a little shade. So when people just responded like that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, no compassion. And that is the, I think I've mentioned it. If you see this, you've probably seen the title. We're talking about values today. And the reason you're like, values, girl, we did social studies, we did, they wrote them, there was maybe even underline this, you wrote awesome notes, right? But then no matter how awesome the notes we wrote in secondary school, maybe some people didn't even know social studies in their school. No matter, how much we've heard of these terms, it seems that they are still on the decline, especially in the social media age generation. And I think, maybe one of the reasons why is because we don't have to deal with people, we have to deal with screens, or we have to deal with our perceptions of people. And so people, some people, they will tell you, oh, people are bolder. You can, I don't know. I guess some people are bolder because cyberbullying is a thing. But then I'm just like, it just really highlights or magnifies the fact that there is a void in in value creation and, should I say, maintenance. And maybe that is because we don't see each other as much in person as we do, because if you visit a person and maybe you see something that hurts their feelings, maybe you see their facial reaction, or people are even just more conscious of things like courtesy and politeness when you are standing in front of a whole imago Dei. And that seems to be something that is, they just throw it out the window when you're on social media. And I'm not saying this is everybody, right? I'm saying that this is a thing I have seen, to not generalizing here. Anyways, the reason why I mentioned this is because in our nation, in our country, how does this relate? How does this apply? Oftentimes, and of course, if you thought I was not gonna connect this to Nigeria, like, you're obviously a new person here. Hello, let me introduce myself. I'm Cami. Most of the things I talk about, we're gonna relate this to Nigeria, and this is not because I just want to be a patriotic somebody that just talks about Nigeria a lot of the time, but because we are Nigeria. I am Nigeria. You are Nigeria. So when I mention Nigeria, I'm not mentioning land or Plateau State and the 7,000 mountains. I'm talking about us, the people are Nigeria. And so when I say I want to relate this to Nigeria, I mean I want to relate this to us. And so anyways, let me go back to what I was saying, right? So when we often look at people maybe in government, right? Funny enough, I saw another video, social media experiment at this point. I saw another video, right? Of this. So this person was recording a video, and then as some people will say, wonder shall never see. Let me just tell you. So I saw this video, right? Also on this same Instagram. Instagram is so exciting. Of a LASMA truck going against traffic. And so there were cars. And unfortunately for this LASMA truck, it was like, it wasn't like express or, service lane beside express. It was like a service lane road. It was like a narrow road. So there wasn't like anywhere for them to hide, and they were going against traffic, and all these cars were going normally, and then the LASMA truck was just going against traffic, and people were like, oh my gosh. So people got down and they were recording that. So that's just another example of the thing I'm trying to say, right? So values, when I say values, right, oftentimes we blame the progress or the state of our nation on the people in power. We say, look at that one now, it's still $90 billion. How would we progress? Look at those ones now, they are collecting loan, they are so indisciplined or corrupt. It's that they are so indisciplined to manage the money well, or they are corrupt and they steal the money, and so see where we are. But often, especially with elections coming, I think that the people who are in power actually reflect the values of the people. Now, does this mean I'm saying every Nigerian is corrupt or indisciplined or selfish? No, because we have some awesome people, right? We have wonderful people that are doing marvelous things. But this is what I'm saying. There are some core values that you hardly hear in leadership. And another story I'm going to give, another example, another thing I remember now, is this clip of an interview on a news channel, one of the popular news channels in Nigeria. And they had this, I think a guest, I can't really remember who it was, whether it was a guest on the show, and they were asking him his opinion about a particular candidate, or I think a particular person that was running for a public office. And he was like, basically what he said was, oh, okay, that person is a good person, but leadership is not for good people. Basically saying that goody two shoes are not allowed. Can you see what the problem is? Now, you may think to yourself that, oh, Kamiko, how dare that? And know me, I stand for honesty, I stand for integrity, I stand for commitment and perseverance and discipline and all those good things that we like to see. But once again, when you look at the positions of authority, you actually then see that maybe we do value those character traits, but we don't honor them. Now, there is a difference between value and honor. You can value something but not honor it, or you can admire something and not, I feel like admire is probably the right word. You can admire something but not honor it. An example would be, maybe you have a job opening, right? You need a graphic designer. You are an organization, maybe a non-profit. You need to put out a lot of content for brand awareness, and so two people apply, right? There's this person, they have like maybe just like school set, maybe they kind of dropped out of university, maybe because ASU is on strike, they've not even graduated, right? But the person is honest, the person is committed to the organization, the person is willing to learn. They may not know all the skills, but this person looks like a good person. And then you have the other person, masters, PhD in psychology of mass media analyzation, but then this person, okay, the award is fine. About the Yoruba used to say. There's this time I can't remember it, but basically the person, maybe the person is a little bit arrogant because they have PhD, right? So everybody must bow down to them, and so because in that situation you can choose to honor what you admire. You see that this person is honest. They may not have all the qualifications or the certifications, but you see they are honest, you see they are committed, you see they are disciplined and not arrogant, and you choose this person. But maybe because this person, they have used all the degrees and certifications, they're like, oh my god, this person went to school in Harvard. I'm not shading Harvard, but all these things that people always say, and then they choose this person. In that instance, you can admire honesty and discipline and the willingness to learn, but if you don't honor it, then you don't value it. That's the same thing that goes on in Nigeria. Even though we honor honesty, integrity, perseverance, compassion is another thing that is on the decline. In fact, there may be a whole video on compassion, because that is one thing that is easily lost on social media. Part of it may be our fault, part of it may not be our fault. And another thing that is also being lost is the ability to have peaceful arguments. Like, that people can have there can be peaceful arguments. Now, but I feel like maybe peaceful is not the word I'm looking for. But you can have like a constructive argument that builds people up. You may still not agree at the end of the day, but you can have constructive arguments. Compassion and good arguments, those two things, we are losing them seriously, especially with social media. But those are topics for another day. Anyways, in that situation, you can choose to honor what you value, but oftentimes we don't. And how do you know this? I remember one of my coaching mentors, she will be like, if you go on social media and you type hashtag goals, the things you see will scare you. You will be scared for your children. Because the things that we honor, the things that we put the label of hashtag goals, they do not reflect these values that I just mentioned. Now, for example, the people, and a good way to see what I'm talking about is to check people's following, right? If you see what people follow, what people talk about, what trends, or maybe what people want to have. When you look at people's goals, when you look at people's, I want to be XYZ in the next 5 years, you don't see people mentioning, oh, I want to be an honest person, I want people to see me and be like, that girl is a girl of integrity. You may be in the back of my like, of course, yeah, like, I want to be honest, like, amen. But I actually want to have money, and I want to go to XYZ school, and I want to have the certification. And so, even when we choose leadership, now I'm not even, and this is not just Nigeria, but even around the world, sometimes we put all these superficial things like certifications, like degrees, like influence, money, power, fame. We use those things, and we use those things to pick people that will be put in positions of authority. And it's not like those things are not good, but it becomes dangerous when you replace values with those things and you don't check to see if those people that have the influence, the power, the money, you don't check to see if they have those values. Because when they get to those positions, they're going to drive you into the ground, which is what is happening in many countries today. And so the reason why I'm saying this is not to come and throw shade. Like, I want this place to be a place of encouragement, but we can't encourage ourselves if we don't know what we are encouraging ourselves from. Like, you can't say I'm encouraging you to be better than what. So the what is what I just finished explaining. And so even in this generation where it seems that we are replacing, compassion with competition, people are ready to do anything, and to just be, to oppress village people, to pepper them, to let them fry people so that they can be your plantain. I'm sorry, I'm veering off the track. But let me say, I'm trying not to miss anything. Also, if you notice the people who we admire, these are good people, not necessarily qualified people. People in history that we remember, Nelson Mandela. Do we know if he went to school? I can't remember if he went to school. Mother Teresa, did she go to school? I don't remember. Obama, okay, I think he went to school. Because the US to be like, we don't want you if you didn't go to school. People that you remember as heroes, as role models. You remember their character traits, how they persevered, how they were faithful, how they did not always choose violence. How they were able to have dialogue with opposition and still maintain their ground. Those are the things that we admire. If you don't honor them, those values will decrease. Because what is the point? Some people, they will keep those values, like Christians now, we will keep those values because the Galatians told us that we should know that these are fruits of the spirit. But if we don't honor them, there will two things are going to happen. Those values are going to go into a decline. So you will have a society where less people are compassionate, less people are honest, because people don't really care if you are honest or not. They just care if you have a certificate. And so that is what people are going to do. They are going to get certificates and get degrees and get letters of recommendation, and you will employ them, and you will see this person is stealing your money. And that is what will be reflected, will be magnified in positions of authority. Another thing is even perseverance, right? Perseverance, another topic for another day. But basically, I think I wrote here, let me see, I'm trying to, okay, yes. So the point of encouragement is, that's my alarm. Let me pick it. It's time to start your day, because it is time to start my day. But basically, what I am saying is that you have a choice. I've talked about all these things not to make you depressed or to be like, there's no hope for our generation, but to let you know that you have a choice, because you can choose to listen and be like, you know what, girl, I actually understand what you're saying. These values are in a decline, but I'm going to remember to reflect, admire, and honor these values. And even if it doesn't seem like people around me are doing it, remember what we talked about influence. Remember the other series, people who see you and see that you consistently reflect these values and you honor those values. Those values that they just don't come without like repatriation. There will be rewards, right? But even if you don't focus, you don't need to focus on the reward. You just need to focus on being a good person, because it is good people that the world actually values, that God actually blesses. God does not care. Like people in the Bible, like if you are a Christian, you know what I'm saying. Your certifications are in the mud when it comes to God. Because he don't care. Like maybe after he has called you, you can now be like, okay, because God has called me to this industry, let me go and know what is going on there. But your certifications don't matter to God, that are filthy rags in his eyes. You know what I'm saying, Romans and Galatians things. But anyways, that is the end goal of this. Who will you choose to be? Who will you choose to be? You can listen to something like I'm cool, awesome videos here later, but who will you choose to be? Anyways, I had here right now, I had written at the back of this, because the world, okay, yes, who will you choose to be, right? Because the world would be a better place, not if we all had money or all had degrees or all had what we wanted, but if we were all just good people. That is the end of this video. I will see you next time. Peace and love.